Hello everybody and welcome back to UK Money Wisdom. It's Angie. Today we're going to do something a little bit different because I want to show you something most pensioners, including myself, have never been told and didn't really understand the full extent of. So today it's about how many times is the same pound of our pension actually taxed. I don't mean just income tax, I don't mean just VAT, but the full hidden tax trail that quietly eats into our money every single month. I'm going to show you this through the real life story of a fictional pensioner called Margaret, age 78. The real person does exist, but we've changed her name and her age. What you're about to see is calm, clear, step by step, and totally true. But many of you will finish this video thinking, I had no idea. No wonder I'm struggling. Let's begin. Let's meet Margaret. Margaret is 78. She's widowed. Margaret lives alone in a small sheltered flat. She has no mortgage, no holidays, no luxuries, no savings left. Just a simple life. Her total monthly income is £2,000, made up of £1,100 state pension, £600 workplace pension, £300 drawdown, giving her a total monthly income of £2,000. It's a very ordinary income for her age. Let's follow it calmly and see how many times that money is taxed. Here's the first tax. Before she even gets it, we're all familiar with this. Her yearly income is £24,000. Personal allowance is £12,570. That leaves Margaret with £11,430 that is taxable. At 20%, Margaret pays £2,286 a year. That's £190.50 a month in income tax. This is before she even buys food or turns on a light. £190.50 disappears. That's the first tax. Let's have a look at this little sum. So her gross income, we know, was £2,000. Her tax was £190.50, tax number one. Her net income remaining is £1,809.50. We move on to the second tax, which is hidden VAT on everyday life. Margaret now has £1,809.50 left. Like most pensioners, she spends almost all of it. And here's the part nobody tells her. Even the basics come with VAT hidden in the price. Well, I'm talking about groceries, cleaning products, clothes, broadband, phone, toiletries, home essentials. It all adds up. And a typical pensioner in Margaret's shoes pays around £160 a month in VAT, and that's tax number two. And that amounts to £1,920 a year. No small sum. And here comes the third tax. Those hidden taxes in the prices of fuel and insurance and more. And these taxes don't show as a separate line on a receipt. And she pays them, that tax number three, that hidden tax on fuel, etc., every single month. That's fuel duty on petrol, insurance premium tax on her home and contents insurance, alcohol duty if she enjoys the odd glass of wines. These taxes quietly drain another £60 a month away. That's £720 a year. Let's move on to the fourth tax. For simply living in her home. Margaret's sheltered flat still requires council tax. That's the tax number 4. She's a typical band C or D, and Margaret pays £170 a month for tax number 4, which is £2,040 every year. She cannot avoid it. And, yes, there's a 5th tax, Margaret's utilities and phone bills. These essential services come with their own taxes. The electricity and gas, 5% VAT. Broadband and mobile, 20% VAT. And that's another £20 a month for tax number 5, which is £240 a year. I think we get the picture, because we're used to stealth taxes, aren't we? Okay, let's see the full picture, the full effect of these unavoidable taxes in the tax trail. We're going to total all of this calmly. In the first column we have tax type, then we have the monthly tax, and in the right-hand column, the annual tax amount. So, income tax is £190.50 a month. That's, as I said, £2,286 a year. VAT comes to £160. That's £1,920 a year on things such as her groceries, clothes, etc. And then we have those hidden taxes, £60, which is another £720 a year. And then council tax, which is £170 a month, which is a whopping £2,040 a year. And then she has VAT on her utilities, another £20 a month, which is £240 a year. We'll leave it at that, shall we? Margaret's total tax paid for the month is £650 on her £2,000 a month, and on her annual £24,000 a year gross, she pays £7,206. Not just £2,286 income tax, you'll see, but £7,206 in tax. That's approximately a third of her entire income gone on tax. Not the 20%, but a third in tax. Gone. Quietly, without Margaret ever being shown the full picture. If that isn't a stealth tax, I don't know what is. So, although she receives £2,000 a month, Margaret has to really live on only about 2/3 of it, just £1,400. Margaret hasn't done anything wrong. She hasn't overspent. She can't. She hasn't lived wildly. She can't. She hasn't taken holidays. She can't. She hasn't wasted a penny. She can't. But she is taxed. And she's taxed before she gets her money, when she spends her money, inside the prices she pays, on her energy, on her home, and on every essential. Her money is taxed again and again and again, and our money is taxed again and again and again. And nobody tells pensioners the truth like this, do they? Yes, Margaret really lives on about £1,400 a month. Remember this, because you already worked for decades and paid tax on every pound you earned. You contributed through national insurance. You paid income tax on your wages. You paid VAT on the things you bought. You paid fuel duty just to get to work. You paid council tax to keep a roof over your head. You paid tax every step of the way, right up to retirement. And now, in retirement, after a lifetime of paying in, contributing, and doing the right thing, you're asked to pay another 30% of your pension income back to the system through a maze of hidden taxes. It feels immoral. It certainly feels unfair. And it's something many pensioners sense. I think we all sensed it, but have never been shown clearly. I find it painful to highlight the cumulative tax burden over a lifetime. I'm sure you do as well. It can't get any worse, can it? Let me now show you the part of the picture we're also almost never shown. We've just seen how Margaret pays $7,206 a year in tax, approximately 30% of her entire income. She cannot avoid a single one of them. Now, if we compare Margaret's situation to someone at the other end of the scale, Marcus, who is a multi-billionaire. We know that, to be fair, Marcus does pay some tax. He does pay VAT on things he buys. He pays council tax on his homes. He pays stamp duty when he purchases property. He may even take a salary and pay income tax on it. But here's the thing. Here's the truth that matters. The tax that Marcus pays is tiny compared to his overall wealth, and tiny compared to what ordinary people pay as a percentage of their income. Because Marcus gains £500 million or £1 billion in a year simply because his assets rose in value. And that gain is taxed at 0%. Not because he's doing anything illegal, but because the system allows it. I haven't finished yet. And unless he chooses to sell something, remember, most of Billionaire's assets just sit there idly earning Billionaire's money, but not contributing to the economic growth and well-being of the country in the same way as pensioners' money does, because pensioners spend nearly every penny of their income, which goes into generating economic growth in the country. Marcus pays no tax on rising wealth. He pays no tax on unsold shares, no tax on asset appreciation. Loans taken against wealth can be tax-free. Company structures can shield huge gains. All these loopholes, you see. Let's come to the crunch. While Margaret, our everyday pensioner like us, pays almost 30% of everything she has, Marcus, the billionaire, in a realistic year might pay 0.1%, maybe 0.2%, occasionally 1% of his rising wealth, but often far less, even after VAT, even after council tax, even after stamp duty. His total tax contribution as a percentage remains tiny, no more than 1% compared to our 30%. That's the difference. Margaret pays tax on the basics she needs to live. A billionaire pays tax mainly when they choose to. Margaret can't move, structure, or delay her tax. A billionaire's entire financial system is built on choice. And when you place those two pictures side by side, you realise in today's system, people like Margaret are carrying a far heavier load on their shoulders than the people with the broadest shoulders, like Marcus. If this opened your eyes, please do share it. It does help other pensioners understand what's really going on, what's really wearing them down. Thank you so much for watching. Do please subscribe, and if you'd like to see more of my videos, and share with anyone who needs to see these videos, and like if you wouldn't mind, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a good day, and all that remains is for me to say goodbye.